Close your eyes and imagine the distinctive rumble of a Holden V8. Now, picture that same car being sold for more than a luxurious beachfront property. That's the reality for some 80s Aussie muscle cars today. In this video, we're showcasing 5 Holden legends that have skyrocketed in value. From homologation specials to Peter Brock editions, these aren't your average used cars anymore. Number 1. The Blue Meanie. 1985 Holden Commodore VK Group A. Picture this. It's 1985, and the roar of V8 engines echoes through Mount Panorama. Amidst the sea of Holden fans at Bathurst, one car stands out like a sore thumb, the VK Commodore Group A. This wasn't just another Commodore off the production line. It was Holden's ticket to Group A racing domination, soon to earn the nickname the Blue Meanie. Creating a homologation special wasn't a walk in the park for Holden. They had to build 500 road-going versions to qualify for Group A racing. But Holden didn't just meet the minimum. They went above and beyond, producing 502 of these blue beauties. Each one packed a 4.9-litre V8 engine, pumping out a hefty 196 kilowatts of power. For the 80s, that was enough grunt to make your average Aussie tradie weak at the knees. The Blue Meanie wasn't just about raw power though. It sported a unique aerodynamic package, including a front air dam and rear spoiler that looked like it could double as a picnic table. Inside, you'd find Shield Sport seats that hugged you tighter than your nana at Christmas. And let's not forget the iconic Formula Blue paint job that gave this beast its nickname. As the years rolled by, the legend of the Blue Meanie grew faster than a politician's expense account. What was once seen as just another Commodore transformed into a highly sought-after piece of Aussie motoring history. Car enthusiasts started to realize that owning a Blue Meanie was like having a piece of Mount Panorama in your driveway. Today, if you're lucky enough to find a mint-condition Blue Meanie at auction, you'd better have deep pockets. These rare beauties can fetch over $300,000. That's a stonking 1,000% increase from their original price. It's enough to make you wish you'd bought one back in '85 and stashed it away in your garage. Number 2. The Walkinshaw. 1988 Holden VL Commodore SS Group A SV. Imagine cruising down the streets in 1988, turning more heads than a kangaroo in a tutu. That's what it was like to drive the VL Commodore, better known as the Walkinshaw. This wasn't just another souped-up Commodore, it was Holden's most extreme road car to date. When the Walkinshaw first hit the streets, it was about as divisive as Vegemite. Some thought Holden had lost the plot with its wild aero kit that made the car look like a spaceship on wheels. The hefty price tag didn't help either. At $45,600, it was nearly double the cost of a regular VL Commodore SS Group A. Many punters reckoned Holden had cooked it, calling the Walkinshaw a flop right out of the gate. Under the bonnet sat a 5-litre V8 engine, producing 180 kilowatts of power. Not too shabby for the 80s, but it was the handling that really set this beast apart. The Walkinshaw hugged corners thanks to its race-bred suspension setup. Holden only built 750 of these beauties, with many thinking it'd be Tom Walkinshaw Racing's one-hit wonder. But as the years rolled on, something funny happened. The Walkinshaw's reputation started to grow like a well-fed wombat. What was once seen as over-the-top became iconic. Car enthusiasts started to appreciate the sheer audacity of its design and the engineering prowess that went into creating this road-going race car. Fast forward to today, and you'd better have deep pockets if you want to get your mitts on one of these rare gems. A top-notch Walkinshaw can fetch over $1 million at auction. That's right, you heard it correctly. 7 figures for a Commodore. It's the kind of turnaround that'd make even the most hardened stockbroker's jaw drop. Number 3. The predecessor. 1987 Holden VL Commodore SS Group A. Turn the clock back to 1987, and you'll find Holden cooking up something special in their Fisherman's Bend kitchen. The VL Commodore SS Group A was about to hit the streets, and while it might not have been as wild as its successor, it was set to change the game in ways nobody saw coming. This was Holden's first crack at a Group A homologation special without Peter Brock's HDT involved. The big question on everyone's lips: could Holden deliver without their longtime racing partner? Well, let's just say they weren't mucking about. Under the bonnet, the VL Group A packed a 5-litre V8 engine pushing out 180 kilowatts. For a family sedan in '87, that was enough grunt to make your average Aussie dad feel like he was piloting a rocket ship on the school run. But here's the kicker: only 500 of these beauties rolled off the production line. Most were snapped up faster than free snags at a Bunnings sausage sizzle, with racing teams and Cluey enthusiasts leading the charge. At first glance, you might have mistaken it for just another Commodore, but those in the know recognized the subtle tweaks that set it apart. A discreet rear spoiler, unique alloy wheels, and FE2 suspension gave it a bit of mongrel without shouting about it. It was the automotive equivalent of a bloke in a tailored suit, classy, but ready to throw down if needed. As the years ticked by, this understated Group A special started gaining serious cred among collectors. It wasn't just about the rarity, though that certainly helped. The '87 VL Group A represented a pivotal moment in Aussie automotive history. It was Holden proving they could still build a proper muscle car, even without Brock's magic touch. Fast forward to today, and you'd better have some serious coin if you want one in your garage. A pristine '87 VL Group A can fetch over $300,000 at auction. That's a far cry from the $40,000 price tag when new. Talk about a return on investment that'd make your financial advisor weep with joy. Number 4. The original 1985 HDT VK Commodore SS Group A. Alright, let's wind the clock back to 1985. Peter Brock's HDT was about to unleash something that would change the game for Aussie muscle cars. The VK Commodore SS Group A wasn't just another hotted-up Holden. It was Australia's first proper Group A homologation special. Now, you might be wondering, could a beefed-up road car really take on the European heavyweights on the track? Well, HDT wasn't mucking about. They shoehorned a 4.9-litre V8 under the bonnet, pumping out a hefty 196 kilowatts. In '85, that was enough grunt to make most petrol heads weak at the knees. But here's the kicker. HDT only built 500 of these beauties. And get this, each one was personally signed off by Peter Brock himself. It's like having the Don Bradman of Aussie motorsport give your car his stamp of approval. As the years rolled by, these VK Group A's became more than just old racers. They turned into proper pieces of Aussie motorsport history. It's like owning a bit of the Mount Panorama tarmac, but with wheels and an engine. Now, if you're keen on getting your mitts on one of these blue beauties today, you'd better have deep pockets. A top-notch HDT Group A can fetch over $350,000 at auction. That's some serious coin for a car that started life as a humble Commodore. But here's where it gets really interesting. Before the Group A came along and changed the game, there was another HDT special that set the stage. It was a car that proved Aussies could build world-class performance machines, even if we were working with what some might call agricultural roots. Number 5. The Forerunner 1984 HDT VK Commodore SS. Let's wind the clock back to 1984, when HDT was cooking up something special in their Aussie workshops. Before the Group A era kicked off, there was a Commodore that set the stage for everything that followed. The HDT VK Commodore SS wasn't just another hotted-up family car. It was the blueprint for Aussie muscle car greatness. Picture this, a time when most family sedans were about as exciting as a trip to the dentist. Then HDT comes along and decides to stuff a 5-litre V8 under the bonnet of a Commodore. Suddenly, you've got 177 kilowatts of power at your disposal, enough to make European sports cars nervous and keep the local cops on their toes. But here's the kicker. HDT wasn't building these beasts for homologation. Nah, they were just flexing their engineering muscles, showing the world what Aussie ingenuity could do with a bit of elbow grease and a whole lot of horsepower. Each VKSS that rolled out of the HDT workshop was a bit special, with the legendary Peter Brock putting his personal touch on every single one. Now, you might be thinking, sure, it was quick for its time, but could it really hang with the big boys from BMW and Jaguar? Well, that's exactly what HDT set out to prove. They weren't just building fast cars for the sake of it. They were out to show that Aussie engineering could compete on the world stage. As the years rolled by, something interesting started happening. These VKSS Commodores stopped being just quick cars for rev heads and started becoming collector's items. It's like they went from being the local hoon's pride and joy to the centerpiece of high-end auctions. And speaking of auctions, here's where it gets really interesting. Today, if you've got a mint condition HDT VK SS, you're sitting on a gold mine. We're talking over $200,000 at auction. Not bad for what started life as a souped-up family car, hey? From the HDT Specials to the Group A homologation monsters, these 5 cars weren't just quick family haulers. They were the pinnacle of Aussie engineering prowess. What started as a way to dominate on the track has turned into a collector's dream, with these V8 beasts now fetching eye-watering sums at auction. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of Australian muscle and the passion that still burns for these homegrown heroes. But it's not just about the money. These cars represent a golden era of Australian automotive innovation, a time when local engineers could take on the world's best and come out on top. They're a rolling history lesson, each one telling a story of ambition, competition, and pure Aussie grit. So next time you're out and about and hear that distinctive V8 rumble, take a good look. You might just be witnessing the next auction block superstar in the making. After all, in the world of Aussie muscle cars, yesterday's tyre-shredding family sedan could be tomorrow's $1 million collectible.